How you doing, Jalon?
Good.
It's can you help us out with just from the standpoint of identifying you, in print and in stories and that, inside linebacker, outside linebacker, where do you feel like you fit in, and how is that elevated or perhaps held back your progress, maybe doing cross training so much?
Right. I've been blessed to be able to play both positions, and I just call myself a hybrid linebacker at this point. Being able to play on the edge and being able to play in space in the box as well. Coach Shu has done a great job of developing me at the inside backer position because before I got here, I didn't play inside backer. I feel like I've grown tremendously there throughout my time here as well, and then being on the edge with Coach Deribe as well. He helps me a lot. The edge is my natural habitat, so I use that to the best of my ability. But I feel great. Being able to play both positions and being a hybrid linebacker.
Yeah, Jalon over here to your right. I was going to ask which one more comes natural to you. It sounds like edge rushing does. I'm curious more, when did you become fully comfortable of knowing both spots from a schematic standpoint, having the playbook fully absorbed?
Right. During my setback of having a high ankle sprain during the spring, I got to learn more through coaching in the inside backer position, by watching those guys go out there and practice and compete. That opportunity got me to really dive into the details of being an inside backer. Of course, throughout our summer as well, we've had my inside backer reps for our 7-on-7, then I've had my pass rush days as well. So, just having the balance of both throughout camp, throughout the season, it's been great. During this fall camp, have the opportunity, to sit in the outside backer room as well, and be in the inside backer room as well as, of course, myself as well as too. So having that position, being a dual position, is great.
Jalon, when Coach Hartley was in here last week, he talked about Quintavious Johnson and how impressed he was with what he's done so far. What has stood out to you from what he's done since he's gotten here?
Right, Quintavious, Q, to me, he's, just a great athlete overall. Just excited to see him grow up. We had since the spring, just seeing his strides to become a better player throughout the year. So I'm just accomplished and proud of him.
Jalon, one thing that Coach Smart talks in here a lot about is explosive play margin, on the defense, limiting them, offense, creating them. How much do you hear that? And then also, kind of, how do you feel like this defense you have will be at that part of the game?
Right, explosiveness throughout the game is the turning point throughout the games. You win off explosive plays through the offense, and you win off of the explosive plays from the defense. So having those two balanced up for having an explosive offense for our side of the ball and having an explosive defense by eliminating explosive from the other side of the offensive ball, it's just what we do at Georgia. That's what we plan to do. Just diminish explosive plays so we can keep the game in our hands.
How do coaches emphasize that? What things do they tell you to be mindful?
We just go out there and play football. Stay on our keys and have our standard of go out there playing winning football.
With C.J. Allen and Raylen Wilson, what are you seeing from them as they're entering their second season in terms of comfortability at the inside linebacker spot?
Right, those two are brothers to me. They've grown tremendously throughout the spring, and I can't wait to watch them throughout the season. I feel like we took a great stride in the inside back room of focusing and honing in on our details throughout the spring and our fall camp.
Yeah, I know in high school you worked at Chick-fil-A. Is there anything that working at a Chick-fil-A helps you with football, helps you understand playing football more, makes it easier?
I couldn't tell you. Maybe being kind to other people. Kindness is you kill people with kindness, and my pleasure is always a great thing at Chick-fil-A as well. So.
Can you give us a kind of a student athlete perspective? If I'm not mistaken, you guys are in the throes of camp. School starts tomorrow, I think, maybe. Just processing all that, the heat of daily practices, and then now you throw class into the mix. What's it like right now?
At the moment, it shouldn't be nothing new to us. We take classes all year round. During our spring semester, and of course we have our summer classes as well. But key thing you said is student athlete. Student comes first, so we hone in on our academics. Of course, we won't have the opportunity to play football if it's not having great academics on our hand. So.
Jalon, when Coach Smart was in here, he talked about the scrimmage on Saturday, and he wasn't satisfied with the effort, the enthusiasm. How much does that get talked about among the players, especially this week in the lead up to that second scrimmage?
Right. Ever since being here, our standard of having enthusiasm and effort, effort cannot be taught. Effort, is shown throughout the players. So, us having high effort, giving good effort, that just excites practice even more. That brings more energy to what we need to do. It brings more focus on our craft as well. Us being exhausted drives the mental aspect out of the game. Us being highly encouraged and have energy throughout the game, it goes in our favor.
Jalon, over here, just about a couple of the running backs. Your freshmen from California and ETN, their quickness as far as how they stack up with the rest of the SEC. What would you say in terms of what you've seen from those guys so far?
I think they fit in pretty well. Trevor Etienne coming from Florida, and Nate Frazier coming from California. He's a freshman, of course, but everybody's here for a reason. Everybody plays football for a reason. I feel like both of those guys, the whole running back room is talented.
What have you seen from Oscar Delp stepping up, just as not only as a player but as a leader, as the offense tries to replace Brock?
Right. He's became more of a vocal leader for our offense. He's being in that position of replacing Brock, but I feel like he's just stepping up, and filling in that role, of course. But he's doing a tremendous job, hosting that offense side of the ball to push their limits and push their standard as well.
Yeah, and getting to spend some time with the outside linebacker room. What have you seen out of Damon Wilson? What's maybe the big difference between where he was this time a year ago to where he is now?
Right. There's always a gap of knowing the offense, knowing the defense and learning the defense. But I feel like Damon had the opportunity to know and learn the defense even more throughout the offseason. That prepares him to be even a better player than he is now.
You guys yesterday were announced as a nearly consensus as a number one preseason team. It was very similar in the coaches poll. I just wonder if that news even penetrates the bubble of, the Butts-Mehre football complex. If y'all heard that, or is it, quickly dispensed with through instruction, and coaches say don't listen to that at all?
Right. I don't think Coach Smart needs to, preach that to us, because we come out here to play football. That's other people's opinions. It came up as a notification on my phone, and it's just another notification to me. We always have to work and keep our effort, to being that number one team in the country, and having our standard to have a successful season.
When you look to the second scrimmage on Saturday as a defense, what do you feel like you guys need to accomplish? What areas you need to take a step forward in during that scrimmage?
Right. We got a lot of work across the whole team, we got to get done. I don't really have a specific detail of what we need to hone in, but coming from Coach Smart, we need, have more effort, bring some more energy to the scrimmage.
More questions for Jalon? All right, Jalon, thank you.